Welcome back to Dolphins United, the platform for Dolphins. You heard me. It's been a minute. DU fam, what is up? Glad to be back with y'all. I got a video for y'all today that I just want to get off my chest, all right? I just want to get it off my chest. I got to talk to y'all real quick because it's not that the media has been bothering me about their, or with their Tua rhetoric. Because we're used to it, all right? Tannehill had that same treatment, probably deservedly so. Chad Henne had that same treatment, probably deservedly, more than likely, definitely deservedly so. Down the line. Down the line. All right, down the line. Tua, and I'm getting right into it. Tua has not lived up to a lot of people's expectations. He just hasn't. And that's the truth. Okay, now, I say Tua has not lived up to many people's expectations because people had high expectations for Tua, partly due to the fact that he was drafted at number 5, partly due to the fact that, he was a great college player, and probably more so due to the fact that Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are balling out of control, one of which has just been to a Super Bowl in his first 2 years. So all of that works against Tua. But what people have failed to understand is that their expectations for Tua were unrealistic because there are factors in play that make Tua's progress and process different than the other two. Now, let's go over that. What makes Tua's process different? 1, injury. All right? Tua had a really bad injury coming out of college. Tua's arm. All right? In college, was comparable to Joe Burrow. To what it was comparable to. In college, before the injury. We didn't see Tua throw until his mini pro day after the injury. So before injury, his arm was comparable to to Joe Burrow, who had a decent arm and I believe led the league in deep field passing, and Chase led the league in deep field receiving, something like that, all right? Or they were top 5, definitely. Tua gets hurt. We didn't know, meaning everybody, all right, didn't know what effect that was going to have on his arm. So we assumed once he was healthy enough to throw, that he should be able to take off running like Justin Herbert, who was told 5 to 10 minutes before the game started that he was going to be starting instead of Tyrod Taylor because of a punctured lung. They expected that Tua, as soon as he was ready to start, would come in and be the same Tua from college, not factoring in that it was his hip that was hurt, and that would have an effect on him being able to drive the football. All right? So his first year with limitations, he was still able to go 6-3. Yes, the defense carried him for most of those games. Yes, he struggled in some of those games. Yes, Tua didn't look like we expected him to look in some of those games, most of those games. Yes, Flores saw Tua and felt like he wasn't going to become his former self, who he was prior to injury. Felt like Tua was damaged goods and wanted to move on from Tua and move on towards Deshaun Watson before last season started and even during the season. and that didn't end up happening. All right. All of these things are well documented. We know all of these things. Next thing that was a factor for Tua. All right. And by the way, his injury hindered him last year as well. Okay. He wasn't quite 100%. Now apparently, all right, in this offseason here, he's throwing 71-yard passes. Now last year, I seen him throw 52, 53 in the air. That's good enough for me. In college, the furthest I saw him throw a ball with my eye. Now, I can't judge across field, okay? Him throwing from the left to the right hash, down the field, across the numbers. I can't judge that distance. I can only judge when the ball left his hand to when the ball was caught or incomplete, because I did the incompletions as well. I seen him throw 58 yards in college. Once again, I can't judge throwing across the field. I can't judge that distance, and that does add yardage. So based on what I saw, okay, from one end to the other, 58-yard pass, whether it was complete or incomplete, was what I saw Tua throw in college. That possibly could have been 65 to 70 yards. I don't know, because once again, I can't judge width. All right, I'm just judging the length of the pass. Now, with that being said, 58 to 60 in college gets it done in the NFL. All right, now it's all about being able to drive the football, which Tua was able to drive the football in college. Okay, he was able to get that ball out on a 15-yard out. Now, he wasn't Justin Herbert with it. All right, but he had a amicable arm. All right, it was amicable. Okay, it was decent enough. It was good enough. Injured, Tua was able to throw 50-some yards. In the air, I'm cool with that. This offseason, fast forward, he's throwing, and if you see a little wet patch right here, I just put a little too much. Sorry about that. Some of y'all probably didn't even notice it, but a little too much spray on the iron, you know, and it didn't dry completely. But, you know, I just keep it funky. So that's what that is. Anyway, Tua now throwing 71-yard bombs, apparently. All right, and he's ripping 40 to 50-yard drive shots to Lynn Bowden as well, as Perform has continued to put out videos on. All right, showing us his progress. Some of y'all, by the way, need to just stop, because if we didn't get progress, if we didn't see Tua throwing, we would say he ain't doing it. All right, and stop with that. All right, because you the same people that'll be sitting there like, man, Tua's not throwing, man. He's not doing anything. Last year he was putting out videos. He's not doing it. He must be golfing every day. He's not doing anything whatsoever. Oh my gosh, he's gonna be trash. He's gonna be this and that because he's not working. All right. So they put out videos. You're upset. Oh, you know, these drills don't mean anything. Or, oh, well, let's see if he can actually do that on the field. All right, which you got a right to say. All right, because just because he's able to do that with no pads on doesn't mean he puts pads and a helmet on, he'll still be able to throw it 71 yards. All right, doesn't necessarily mean that. That's valid. But don't out the same side of your mouth say that, and then if they don't put any more videos out, you say he stopped working. All right, it can't be both. All right, so he's gonna put out videos. That's fine. All right, if he's not gonna put out videos, that's fine too. If you're with the videos, keep your mouth shut about the nonsense. If you want to see the videos, keep your mouth shut about the nonsense. And if you don't care, then you don't care. That's fine. But I had to get at y'all because some of y'all, come on now, tighten up. Tighten up. Because if you didn't see no videos, you'll be calling Tua trash. He ain't working. All right? And we know that. But anyway, moving on. Second factor. First factor, injuries. All right? His arm not being able to be as good as he wants it to be. Also makes him hold on to the football a little bit longer than he should. He'll never admit it, but I know it. There's been times where he's done these little hitches like, man, I wish my body would let me throw it down there, and I can't do it. All right? I've seen that. I've seen him second guess himself trying to throw a pass because he feels the limitations. All right? Now, I hope that's gone because he's got one more year to prove that. All right, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And this video might be a little longer. All right, so just letting you know from now. The second factor, coaching. Tua had Chan Gailey. He wasn't coached by the first offensive coordinator, but he had Chan Gailey his first year, and then he had the two co-offensive coordinators last year. Okay, Chan Gailey didn't really believe Tua was ready because Tua wasn't, and that's just the truth. Tua wasn't ready, but he was still thrown in the fire anyway. So he played it safe. All right. Some people felt like that was Chan Gailey's fault that Tua didn't play well. Some people feel like Chan Gailey did and brought all out of Tua that he could. Whatever side of the fence you're on, I don't care. Doesn't really matter to me. I feel like Chan Gailey is a great offensive coordinator, and he also felt as if Tua wasn't ready, so he wasn't going to just feed Tua to the wolves. He gave Tua the easy stuff. The one reads, the rollouts cutting off half the field, all the simple rookie stuff that offensive coordinators tend to give guys that are new to things, all right, that are getting their feet wet. On top of that, he had physical limitations, which Chan Gailey knew, so he wasn't about to test him deep a lot, all right. Tua threw deep early on. He was missing guys. He missed guys. His first game against the Rams, he was missing guys deep against the Cardinals. He missed as well against the Bengals. That was pretty much about it. All right, he wasn't really throwing deep after that. And like that went to Jakeem. Yes, Jakeem dropped the ball, but if you really want to go back and look at that ball should have been out front. It was not out front, and Jakeem dropped it, okay? So because of that, you didn't see much deep passing from Tua after that, all right? It was intermediate, short stuff, okay? Because his body had limitations. He just couldn't accurately deliver the football. Last year, he accurately delivered the football deep. Just still wasn't that many deep, all right? Partly because his body couldn't get the ball out there. Now, coaching-wise, Chan Gailey did the best he could. Last year, it was just an atrocious job. Coaching just wasn't that great, all right? Offensive line, coaching wasn't that great. Offensive coordinators got a little better once they stopped letting Charlie Fry call plays, and then they just started letting I can't remember his name right now. The one of the co-OCs, not Studsville, the other guy, called the plays. They just let him call plays, and they got a little better. And they ran more RPO. They ran more deep stuff as well, some crossers. Tua started looking a little decent from game to game. Tua was also inconsistent as well in that. All right, but coaching wasn't that great, especially on the offensive line, which didn't allow Tua to develop into the quarterback we thought he could be last year, or we hoped he could be last year. All right. Another factor that plays into it, talent around him. Offensive line players, running back, wide receivers. It just didn't work. Wide receivers were again in the last place, not in the last place, but in some of the later spots in getting separation. That's not going to cut it. Tua was one of the tops in throwing in the tight windows. That's because wide receivers ain't getting separation. It's not going to cut it. All right, offensive line, the worst metrics possible. That's not going to cut it. Running backs not being able to, hit the hole well and get yards and do certain things to convert third downs. That's not going to cut it. Tua, okay, had an injury. That was bad. Had inconsistent coaching and had inconsistent talent around him, which caused him to have a different path than Herbert and Burrow. Okay? Burrow, yes, bad offensive line. due to injury mainly. But he had talent around him, and he had a coach that understood his talents, his way of playing, all right? And Zach Taylor, who was an offensive-minded coach at that, which allowed him to progress. Plus, they had the right pieces around him at wide receiver. Plenty of talent at the wide receiver and tight end spots with Uzama. I mean, and then a great running back in Joe Mixon. Offensive line, yes, it could have been better, but it wasn't all that bad throughout the season. It got worse as the playoffs progressed. They were able to, do what they do, okay? And more props to them. He had a great year in Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert, plenty of talent all the way around the man. All right, offensive line, wide receivers, some of the best in the league. Running back, great. He just had all-around talent around him, but he's also a superstar guy, strong arm guy, very accurate. So all those things, they just worked well. All right, Tua hasn't been those guys because he wasn't drafted to the same type of organization. Let's just keep it a buck. He was drafted to a defensive team with not much invested in the offensive line or at the coordinator spots. Chan Gailey, once again, he did great, but if he would have had Chan Gailey the second year rather than the two that he had in Tua, if Tua would have had Chan Gailey the second year, he would have progressed. He would have been a little better because Chan Gailey would have called plays a little bit better for him, all right, that second year. But he wasn't there, all right? So it was the other two guys. If Tua would have had those things, Tua probably would have played a little bit better. But let's not miss the fact that Tua had a really bad injury, all right, that was going to limit him regardless. All right, so let's not get beside that fact. That is very important to why Tua hasn't progressed to our liking or to the media's liking or anything like that. All right, which we're all forgetting about somehow, some way. So now let's fast forward to present time. Why is it important to say all of those factors? It's important to say all of those factors because none of those factors apply to this next coming season. All right? So I said all of that to say this next coming season, I don't want to hear about injury. Because if we hear about injury now, meaning the hip, all right, if the hip is a factor now, red flag, throw him away, figuratively, we need to move on because it's just going to be a factor. By now, his hip should be 100% healed. He should know the game a little more now. Should be able to read the field a little bit better now, okay? He's got talent around him. They brought in all this offensive talent to make sure that Tua has the best possible chance to make himself the franchise quarterback. Offensive line got better. Cardinal Williams and Teron Armstead helped solidify that. Granted, you still got three positions that are ifs, possibly two because I believe Hunt can play, and Dieter and whoever else you want to put at right tackle. Those are ifs, but you're not going to have five all-stars on the offensive line. Some of your offensive linemen are just going to be, just a guy. It's not going to be anything spectacular. You hope Cardinal Williams can pan out. You hope Teron Armstead could be who he had been the last 5 years. You hope Hunt can continue his progress. And then you hope Jackson, Eichenberg, and Dieter, two of those three guys, can be formidable. You put that line together, he has no excuses on the offensive line, barring injury. He's got no excuses when it comes to coaching. I understand that we don't know this coaching staff, but we know Mike McDaniel, everywhere he's been able to coach those guys up. We've got to trust that if Tua doesn't look good this year, it probably ain't coaching. All right? So Tua is out of, I don't want to say excuses because he didn't make any excuses, but he's out of factors that will allow him not to progress in the manner he needs to progress. But up until now, he's had those factors. So what I'm saying is that we've got to understand that who Tua has been wasn't on him. It was on the many factors around him that didn't allow him to be who he wanted to be and who he needed to be. Now, it's on him. All right? Can Tua rise to the occasion? I believe he can. I believe Tua will come out and do all the things that he needs to do, all right, because those factors are no longer there. The hip, all right, if you could throw a 71, your hip's got to be fine by now. The coaching, they got new coaches in. They rehauled they rehauled the whole offensive staff pretty much, and talent. Talent's there at wide receiver, at running back, and on the offensive line, and you brought Gesicki back and Durham Smythe back, who he had rapport with. He's got no more factors. They're not there. They are non-existent as of right now. Tua should be able to go out there and flourish. If Tua goes out there and flourishes, though, don't tell me that it's only because of the coach and only because of the talent. Because the third part of why Tua didn't progress is because of the injuries. All right? If he's fully healthy and he goes out there and to me that was the main factor why Tua didn't play as well. All right? It's because of the injury. Keep that same energy. All right? I'm going to. If Tua progresses this year and becomes a Pro Bowl type talent, all right, not necessarily going to the Pro Bowl, but has the type of season that could see him in the Pro Bowl, I'm more so going to be looking at the fact that he's 100% healthy now. And that's what I'm going to hang my hat on when I'm praising him. He's healthy. He's back to being the quarterback he was in college. Let's go Tua, all right? Plus, the talent is around him now, and he has a coach that believes in him and also was able to scheme up, along with the offensive staff, the best way to use his skill set, all right? Which is a good skill set. Short passing, intermediate, accuracy, and can get and throw deep when he's healthy. He's healthy now. He should be able to do those things. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Y'all already know what it is. First of all, make sure you comment. All right, comment on this because I know I'm going to be bombarded with Tua haters saying that I'm talking nonsense, Tua just sucks, and everything like that. So if you're one of those people, I invite you to go in the comment section because you already know how I get down. I comment on everybody's comment. All right, I like everybody's. I don't like everybody's. I put a little heart. That little heart means that I saw. All right, not necessarily that I liked anything, but that I saw your comment and that I commented on it. Okay, so that's all that heart means. If you actually see a thumbs up on your comment, that means I liked it. If you don't and I put a heart, that means I didn't like what you had to say. All right, and I'll probably let you know about it in the comment section, and we had a conversation about it. But that's how I roll. I know a lot of the Tua haters are gonna come out. All right, apparently I'm a Tua hater too, but yeah. Anyway, they're going to come out and they're going to say Tua's just trash and he's going to be trash next year. You know, and if that's how you feel, that's cool. You know, but I would hope that you could understand what I'm saying and comprehend that, you know, those factors were there and there's nothing that Tua could have done about that and that those factors won't be there this time. So if he actually sucks, you will wait to reserve judgment somewhere in this season if we're sorry, all right? And then you can now say, okay, Tua should be healthy. Tua has coaching around him. Tua has the talent around him. He still sucks. It's on him, all right? Reserve it for then. But until then, everybody in the media that keeps talking about Tua and as if he didn't have those factors, they can kick rocks with open-toe sandals. I'll hit y'all in the next one. Fins up. Let's go. See y'all later.